Welcome to Front Range Facts. This is Anthony Meisner.
And this is Jim Merrion.
We're here to bring you your national update for the month of December, so let's dive right in.
Yeah, we're looking at home sales and mortgages right now. And what we have right here is 2.8% of U.S. homes changed hands in 2025. So only 28 out of 1,000, and which is the lowest turnover rate in at least 30 years, maybe longer, but they didn't really track it, I think, before then. And here you can kind of see what that looks like historically over the last 13 years from the standpoint of, so we're a little bit, in line with what 2024 was, but certainly historically quite a bit less than previous years.
Yeah, mortgage rates are also on a straight decline since the beginning of this time last year, which is a great sign. We're sitting basically 0.8% lower than we started the year to this point, which definitely is going to help home buyers.
Absolutely. And it's helping the mortgage payments get trended down. So here you can see 5 months ago, if you're buying your, average home, you're paying $2,860 in mortgage payment a month. It's dropped a whole $330, now, just based upon that interest rate decrease. So it's really helping people have a more affordable home.
So the rate lock in effect is finally weakening, but it's very subtle still, right,
Yeah.
Jim? Basically quarter by quarter, we're chipping away at those interest rates that people have had below 3%, in the fours, and you're really starting to see that rise for interest rates at the higher rates we're currently.
Those target markets for people wanting to probably move is probably that orange and peach color of the two.
Yeah.
And, right now, though, which is great, we were talking about this before the show, about 1 out of 5 mortgages now have a 6% or higher interest rate that they're paying. So there's, a larger amount of people who, if they did want to buy again or did want to sell again, they're not going to see the sticker shock that they, did, that people who, have this 3% rates had.
And the other good part about this is since the pandemic, we really have seen wage growth faster than in history. So that trend line is kind of over that last 20-year period. You can see the dotted line. And we have really bridged that gap quite a bit more than what you would have expected pre-pandemic times.
Yeah,
so
it's positive for people, more income. And homes for sale have increased in 2025. So, we've been always worried about what the inventory is going to look like, given the fact that less people are wanting to buy. But what we're seeing basically is people are pulling their homes off the market or not selling rather than try to take a loss. So it's really keeping things at very much the status quo. As you can see, the last few months have been really flat for, home sales increase. But it is a jump over what it was, even a year ago. So we're at about 1.1 million homes for sale.
Yep. Inventory continues to grow, obviously, over the course of the years. And just to put it in some perspective for you, we wanted to compare to where we were, pre-pandemic times. And what you can really see here is, we're still well below the number where we were in, 17, 18, 19 by 100,000 homes.
200,000. Yeah. So it's pretty good. We're have more for sale, but it's not more than we have historically.
And those homes are selling at more of a normal pace, which is really good because finally we're getting out of that frenzied buyer behavior that we saw in 21 and 2.
Yeah.
But
so the days on market is getting to be more of a stable type of, historic norm.
Yeah, keep in mind, if you're selling a house, it's going to take about 2 months.
Home sales are expected to rise next year. So it's about 8% increase is what projections are. And this is looking at Fannie Mae, Mortgage Bankers Association, and National Association of Realtors kind of blending theirs together. So expected to rise about 8% in volume.
In 2016 or 26 home price forecast, this is an interesting one because we've been watching this like we do every month. And NAR is actually the most optimistic of the bunch at 4%. Usually Moody's is the pessimist in the room, but right now the MBA has us at negative 3%. But blended all together, the average, we're talking 1.7% across the United States.
And if you're looking at, what does that mean for you from appreciation? Well, if you're to buy, $400,000 home in January 25, they're expecting that your equity is going to increase a little bit every year with, in 5 years, seeing that equity increase $61,381. So there is, even though it's a 2% gain or so a year, 3% gain a year, you're still seeing some equity growth.